Hey, Alana Terry here. You're listening to the Successful Writer podcast. Really glad you joined us. And we're going to be talking today about ideas for how to make side income to supplement your book writing income. So, first of all, let's talk about how this can be beneficial. Obviously, if you're not making enough from your books and your book sales just to make ends meet, then you need to be doing something else. This can be a 9 to 5. This can be a part-time job. And sometimes those are great. Sometimes doing something that's totally unrelated to writing and doing it just for the financial security, the getting out of the house, the health insurance, and even just gaining more experiences. Sometimes that's worth it. Like I picture myself if I'm an empty nester and writing full time, and it's just me and my husband, I might want to go out of the house, and like a part-time job that's not too stressful could be a good way to make that happen. Um, the other thing that can be a risk, like so many of us aspire to be full-time writers and do nothing but that, but we also don't want to get out of touch. The adage, write what you know, can take you so far, but if you stop having life experiences because you're just behind your screen all day, it gets harder to relate to the people you're writing to. So a 9 to 5 or just a regular paid job as a part-time employee can work out great. But there are other things that are more writing related that can work as really good part-time income options that also get you some experience with publishing, marketing, and writing. So right now at Successful Writer, we're taking dozens of students through our very first author assistant training school where people are learning how to do the publishing and the marketing and the advertising for other authors. And so we're talking a lot about this, about how authors want to outsource different jobs, and you as an author can make some good money because a lot of these jobs are in demand. So there's all kinds of things. Basically any part of the writing process can be something that authors will pay you to do for them. So publishing on KDP or the other platforms, formatting books. If you like formatting books and it's nice and relaxing for you, you could make a comfortable side hustle doing this for other authors. Writing blurbs for authors, that's a huge demand. There's lots of authors who love writing the book and don't want to touch the blurb at all. Doing ads for other authors. This is something that has been really popular in our Successful Writer community. We have some Amazon ads packages where we'll run the ads for you and monitor them. So if you're good at BookBub ads or Facebook ads or Amazon ads, that is something that you can hire out as a side income. Some of the benefits of that are obviously the side income's really useful, but you're also getting experience that's going to help you market your own books really well, right? Every time you run ads, you learn about that platform a little bit better. And when you're running ads for others, it's giving you experience. It's going to help you with your own book publishing and book marketing as well. Doing newsletters for authors, covers, graphics, social media. Basically, start thinking about if you're at all interested in becoming a paid assistant, doing paid work as a side gig for other authors. The questions to start asking yourself are, what are the jobs that you hear authors complaining about as being too confusing or time consuming or boring that you don't mind doing or maybe even like doing? What do other authors find really challenging that just seems to have come pretty naturally to you? Like that's how I feel about Amazon ads. I talked to a lot of authors who like, I tried Amazon ads, hated the platform. I find them kind of relaxing. Like if I'm having a really bad day and I just don't have the energy to do creative work, I can still pull up my Amazon ads dashboard and put on something to listen to in the background and kind of get lost for an hour or two. So for me, that's a great question to start with. And that's why that was one of the first services that Successful Writers started offering is Amazon ads, because I find them relaxing and easy, but I know a lot of authors don't. For me, it would be like the book formatting and putting all the metadata into KDP and all the other places. I find that really tedious. So think about what do you do that feels pretty second nature, but you know some authors hate doing. Then the question is, well, how do I get people who will actually pay me to do this? I would just start with within your own writing circles. If you're in any author communities, just post something like, hey, I'm thinking about doing blurb writing for pay. Does anybody wants to try it out? And you can set kind of what you want your end rate to be. So maybe you want to make $100 every time you write a blurb. And so you start at 50 for one or two people while you get that experience and things like that, and decide if you actually want to do it. I think that having any type of side work, whether that's as an employee for somebody else, or whether that's being a freelancer working for other authors, I think that it can be really good for our writing business, because when the financial pressure is not only on you and your books, then you actually get a lot more creative freedom that comes from that. Writing can become a little bit more enjoyable. I'm to the point now where writing has become more like the hobby, and running the business and doing this podcast and making my courses for authors has become like the job. And it can be a little bit sad when you start writing for the love of it, but then that does become the full-time job, and you sort of lose the that passion and that playful feeling, because it's what you've got to do to make ends meet. And so sometimes having something that's not just the writing, but that you can do well, whether that's book editing or proofreading or writing blurbs or running ads for other authors, whatever that might be, having that take a little bit of the financial strain off of your creative self, I think does wonders for your muse. It also means that you can have money to put into your writing business. This is how I got started. I was writing, and I was working a part-time job teaching homeschoolers. And that is how I paid for my edits and my book covers and my first audiobook narrator and things like that. So sometimes, even like a side hustle like this, just to kickstart things, kickstart your own career, can be great. So it's for sure something to consider. I think this is absolutely the route that many authors are going. I think more authors are open to delegation and outsource than ever before. The number of indie authors making kind of mid-list comfortable income with money to invest back into their business is growing. And that means that there's more and more demand for people who will come alongside and help them. So if you're interested in becoming an author assistant, I encourage you to think through some of these things. If you end up needing more training, you can always pop over to the Success Writer Academy and see what courses we have to offer. If you already kind of know what you're really good at, and it's a service that not all authors like to do, just go ahead and put it out there. You don't need fancy anything really. You can just, handle it over PayPal and try it out and see if it's for you. And then what will happen is, if it's something that you enjoy and something you're good at and something that your clients are happy with, the word of mouth is going to spread quite a bit. If you're an author and you're on the other side, like, well, I don't even have time for my own writing business, let alone help someone else with theirs. Maybe it is time to outsource, one more thing. What's one more thing that you can outsource? Because like I said, this is becoming an even more sophisticated economy, where people are hiring themselves out as freelancers, and they have experience. They know how to publish books on KDP. They know how to write great blurbs. They know how to do an author newsletter. So finding the right person for that can take a lot off of your plate too. So if you are in our Successful Writer community and get our newsletters, we're going to be talking before too long, like before the end of the year. We're definitely going to be launching even more services for authors, helping authors find virtual assistants and things like that. So stick around if you're interested in that, or just go out and find the help that you need, because the more you get off your plate, even if it's something that you can do yourself, if it's not the best use of your time and energy, you are going to free up so much of your time and bandwidth by offloading some of these things. I know it's a big step. For me, I was real nervous before I hired my first assistant. It felt like that and learning ads were the two kind of scariest steps I took in my writing career, because I didn't know if there was going to be a return. So I encourage you to think about it more in what you gain from extra energy, extra time, extra bandwidth, as opposed to, well, if I pay my assistant $50 to format a book, does that mean I'm going to make $50 more than if I had formatted the book myself? I think that's the wrong way to look at it. It's more about, does paying someone else to do this free up my mental energy to focus on the things I'm really, really good at and the things I enjoy doing? So hope that was helpful for you, and talk to you next time.